Today on Mano at the Table, I'm joined by designer and entrepreneur Margaret O'Leary. Originally from County Kerry, Margaret built her iconic knitwear brand from the ground up in San Francisco. Today we're going to talk about family, creativity, courage, and how her Irish roots continue to shape her journey. Céad míle fáilte, Margaret. Welcome.
Good Martina.
Oh,
Looking forward.
I'm very excited for this conversation today. So already you and I have something in common. We grew up in big Irish families. I'm one of 11 and you're one of 12. So what was it like growing up in a family of 12 in County Kerry?
And you know why there's so many of us too, right? So
Right.
I guess it's a plot to make more Catholics, really. I think. What was it like? You know, when you've nothing else to compare it to, you sort of think this is normal. Like we grew up with, so many. There was always a kid screaming or crying or something. I'm the second oldest of the 12, and we didn't have any toys. We played with pots and pans, and we were outside. It was on a farm, so we entertained ourselves outside. No TV, no entertainment really, except ourselves.
Right. And I think
Newspapers.
right. And when I'm the oldest and you're the second oldest, and there's a lot of responsibility. I remember, when my mother coming home with the babies and I was 8 or 9 years old and, you're holding a new baby, helping your mother.
Oh, that's right. I
Yeah.
think I've raised two families, my
Right.
own existing one, and I had all this practice in. Absolutely, yes. I was a mother at 8 as well.
Right. So, yeah, for sure, for sure. Different times, I always say to my
Yes.
friends here in America. And then you went to primary schooling in Kerry, right?
All the way to Kerry. Yes, stayed in Kerry, and then I went to college in Dublin. Went to college in Limerick. Went to college in Dublin, and then I graduated probably in the 80s when everybody immigrated. I think there was about 20% unemployment in about 1986, and I graduated from engineering school, and about I want to say 80% of everybody that graduated with me emigrated.
Well, they immigrated for opportunity and,
That's
a
right.
better life with, as you said,
That's
20% on unemployment. Oh, well, I didn't realize you were an engineer. So, okay, so engineer to knitwear. That's a big
so
jump.
it's all math.
Okay. Oh, okay, okay.
You have to calculate how many rows, how many inches, how many stitches. So it's actually all math in the end,
Oh, wow. Okay.
right? If you think
I've never,
about it, right?
yes. Oh, yes. No, I've never thought about knitting. I just think, knit plain pearl, put the thread
Yeah.
over.
But you know what? You have to calculate
Yeah.
how long do I want to make this? Okay, how many rows do I do? And it's all on the grid. Right? Think of those old knit patterns that you've seen. They're all on grids and they
On a
tell
grid.
you how many. It's all numbers.
Oh yeah, no, actually, yeah, it is because you think you have to count the stitches. I'm just thinking now the very basics, and we'll talk about,
Yeah,
obviously much more advanced, what you do. But
yeah.
I'm just thinking back to our primary school days when we did knitting in those patterns. You counted your stitches.
Right? You first start with a scarf, right? And then
Right.
you learn how to turn the heel of a sock. And then you graduate to knitting jumpers, as we call them.
Right. Yeah, I think that was the final. I think in sixth class you'd graduate and you'd knit the jumper.
Mhm.
So then you were so you went to college in Ireland and you immigrated to the US in what, your early 20s?
Yeah. Well, late 20,
Mhm.
20, 26, 27-ish.
Okay.
Yeah, I went to New York first for a summer, and that was pretty grueling, to work as a waitress and pick up some money to go back for the last year in college, and then said, okay, I've got to try the West Coast. And went to San Francisco and pretty much never left.
Okay. And when you arrived in San Francisco, did you work for somebody else, or how did, setting up your own brand, how did all that come around?
It was sort of one of those serendipity things. I was a waitress at a cocktail bar, and somebody said, "Oh, can you import sweaters from Ireland for me? I have this great idea." And I said, "Okay, sure. I got nothing to do during the day." And I had these women from County Cork hand knit sweaters. Took so long to knit, like maybe 2 months. You know how long it takes to hand
Yes.
knit something. And that didn't really pan out from a numbers point of view. Like it'd be a long time to pay the rent. And so I said, oh, maybe I should just learn how to make these. And so I bought a little knitting machine and put it in my apartment in the Richmond. And then I started to make some sweaters and then sew them up or finish them off myself. And then I thought, oh, there's fancy machines to do this. And this is where like computerized machines came in. And I actually saved up a bunch of money and bought my first computerized knitting machine in Japan. Went to
Oh,
Osaka and learned how to program them. So hence the engineering part.
right. So you had a little, I suppose, a little head start or a little advantage.
Right, I just applied my degree this
Right.
from there to there. And I went from door to door and sold to all the local boutiques. I think they felt sorry for me. They just said, okay, we'll take them on consignment. I said, fine. And then it ended up that they would give me guidance. Don't do wool. Nobody likes wool. Do softer yarns. And it was very organic. I have to say, very organic. And what a great place to come, great country to come uh, to start a business.
Oh, yeah, it is. I mean, I'm a real entrepreneur at heart, and I say, America is the place if you, have that calling or and willing to take the risk because it's not easy. So you're in your apartment, you're knitting these sweaters, you're going door to door. Then when did you say, well, I think there's a bigger market for me here and I can have my own store?
Then I would, in one of the stores, there was a sales rep that said, "Oh, I could represent you all over the country." And then I would give them the samples and they would sell to all the other boutiques. So then expanded into California, which then was the sixth biggest country in the world. And then this department store at the time called Barney's
Mhm.
discovered me, and they pretty much put me on the map in that sense. So I mean, I made so many sweaters from that basement in San
Wow.
Francisco that I had to bring my brother, my sister-in-law, my other sister. I put them sort of downstairs in the garage. I had a Chinese landlord at the time that said he kind of felt sorry for me too. I think he said, "Okay, use my space, it's fine."
Mm.
And everybody helped to, there's a lot of work. You have to knit the pieces, then you have to put them together with a crochet hook. And there was a lot of Irish nannies that wanted a little work on the side, so they would take home their packets and sew up the garments because that took more time than actually knitting them on the hand loom.
So you had a lot of support from
Yeah,
family and friends.
that's right. And everybody wanted a little extra money on the side, and that's how they made it.
Okay, and so then was this no, you had this wasn't all still happening in the basement. No, you had moved.
Yeah, 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 all in
Oh,
the
okay,
basement, right?
okay,
Then,
okay,
and then Barney's called up, and I said, okay, I need to move to a bigger space.
okay. So tell
Then,
us about that.
yeah. So I moved to a bigger space and said, okay, I'll buy a knitting machine. And then I bought a knitting machine, saved up. I was making so much money. But to me at the time, it was so much money. Saved up and bought and went to Japan and said, okay, I'm going to learn. I'm going to gamble on learning this. And I took my best knitter with me, and he learned how to program. We spent a couple of weeks in Osaka.
And
You
then
know,
you brought the machine back from
they
Japan.
shipped, yeah, they shipped the
Okay.
machine,
Okay.
and that was
And
one
that was
machine number one, and then
number one.
kind of kept expanding from there.
Right. And then so it kept expanding from there. So you're at Barney's, and then when did you, decide, well, this is working. I'm going to, create this Margaret O'Leary brand. Your logo is just so simple and so clean, and I love it.
I know, the story of that logo is very funny. I had a roommate and he wanted to gift his girlfriend a sweater, and he said, "Look, I'm a graphic designer. Will you make a sweater for Maria and I will do the logo?" I said, "You got it." To this day, he says, "Margaret, if I only got a penny for every single sweater."
Oh,
So anyway, it's very sweet. So thank you, Rob.
oh, that's good. Thank you, Rob. We'll give him a shout out. We'll give him a
Mhm.
shout out here.
Right.
So I suppose too, you did it step by step too, Margaret, and you know, and no, I mean, no big, I suppose, real grandiose plan, right?
No plan.
Right.
Absolutely no plan. And I didn't know anything. People get investors now and they want them to produce a certain amount and to deliver sales. But all I wanted to do was pay my rent and eat. I didn't really say, I'm going to be this big brand. I'd say, go, call it my own name. I didn't know any different,
Right.
right?
But it
So,
has worked. It has worked out. I know business schools would. When I went back and I did my EMBA after, I did it backwards, set up a business, and then went back and did my EMBA, and I said, "Oh my goodness, I was their worst nightmare." So
right.
I did it.
Yeah.
It's very much about of course the numbers as you know. But then and I know your Irish heritage. I mean, you really have stayed true to that. I see it on the website. So I suppose you really care. I mean, about the brand and the quality of the product you're putting out. I mean, and you could see that was from day one, and you can see it's very evident even now.
Thank you for saying that. Right. I care about every single piece, that it's right, that it feels great. And I actually fit every piece because, if you go into a store and try on something and it's ill-fitting, you're
Mhm.
not going to buy it. And a lot of people don't care about those details, right? It'll look good for a day and maybe they're fine, but I care about how it fits, how it looks, and how it's made. And so all those details, I think, come through for the consumer who's going to buy this garment. Because after all, it's more expensive than Zara or H&M or Gap.
Right, right. And I suppose that's more like fast fashion, right? Isn't it? Yeah.
Right,
But
right.
then are you ever, it's very easy, to get tempted, I'm sure. And, are you ever
Yeah,
tempted to just, mass produce, or you just say, this is my brand, I'm staying true to the quality?
that's right. Because I've no investors on my back saying
Oh,
grow, grow,
okay.
grow, right?
Okay.
So it's very organic. And now, because I've been doing this for a long time, I mean, I have passed the company as an ESOP, an employee-owned company. So everybody within the company now owns a part of it. They're like vested over a number of years.
Oh, fabulous. So talk to us a little bit more about that, Margaret. I didn't realize that, and how, you came to that decision.
I said, I'm not going to live forever because I don't know anybody that lived forever. So I said, okay, all right, it's going to come to an end sometime. And let's
Bless you
not
for
come
that.
to an abrupt end without a plan, because really, I have probably 60 people at any time within my employment. So I said, oh, if I kick the bugger, the plane goes down, or God forbid, I'll get ill. Let's make the plans so that there's no stress if I, exit. And so it's a government funded program, and they essentially, oh, I'm not good at explaining this. Um, They essentially say you can sell this company to your employees over time. We'll give you a little money. I'd make way more money if I sold it on public
Of
market.
course, of
I don't
course.
care about that,
Mm.
really. It's not about that. It's about the stewardship when I'm gone, and they can run it. So I have a very good, loyal group of people who've been with me for a long time. And they get their shares published. They get shares, extra shares every year in the company. So we have our own little micro company in San Francisco.
That's fabulous. And then they're fully invested and you don't have turnover. And I mean they care as much about your brand, Margaret, as you do.
That's the idea. That's exactly what happens. So they care. And it should translate down all the way to the retail floor, to everything. We care. I care, they care. Otherwise, they can be somewhere else.
Right, right, for sure. And you have a store here in Boston.
I've one store in Boston because
Yes.
I heard there's a big Irish population, so I said, I
Who
said,
told you, who told you that? It's right
right?
on Charles Street, not too far from where I am, where I
Yeah,
live. Yes.
yeah. And so, to me, everything happens for a reason, and I just kind of listen. Like a friend of mine was running a retail store, and she said, "Oh, do you want this store in Boston?" And I said, "Sure, I'll take over. Why don't I give it a shot?" And it's more like that rather than this big plan to expand.
Okay, okay. And then is that kind of the driver then when you open other stores? Are you looking to see where there's a big Irish diaspora?
I have a wholesale business, and that will tell me where the sort of the nucleus of consumers are.
Mhm.
Like I've tried 3 times to open in New York and failed.
Yeah, I was wondering when I was reading, doing a little bit of prep for today, and I
Yeah.
said, "Oh, there isn't a store in New York." So I said, "Oh, wow, I'm surprised."
Um, Full disclosure, you can't make any money. The
Okay,
landlord makes money in
I
New
suppose the
York,
rent's true, yeah, are so
and the
high.
rent is true. And I think most companies that open in New York consider it a marketing expense. That's how they write it off.
Mm.
But yeah, I was on Madison Avenue on 82nd. It was pretty good, but I happened to be there in 2007 when there was a big crash. And I said, I can't pay anymore. And I sold the store to Toomey Luggage. And then I was on Bleecker Street because I followed all the other retailers on Bleecker Street and couldn't make any money there. The rent was so high. And then I was in Little Italy in Nolita. And at the end, I said, forget this. I'm done. I'll stay in the West Coast. The West is the best for now.
And Boston, and Boston,
And Boston,
and
right?
Boston.
And I'm also in Chicago
Yes,
and Minneapolis. I would open up a second store in Boston because I know now, Martina, you could tell me where to open it.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk after this.
Great, great. I'm a real estate agent.
Okay. Okay. Well, I mean, and I know it's not easy, starting a business in your apartment and growing, scaling it to where you are today. So I'm sure there was curveballs along the way, Margaret.
Oh, no
You want to
question.
share one or two of those with us?
No question. Oh, there was a lot of, I can't pay my payroll today, that kind of thing. I mean, I think it just goes with the territory. You just have to keep going and never borrow more than you can afford to lose, kind of thing. So I don't take big risks. If I was taking big risks, I'd have huge stores all over the US. So I guess that's my ethos. I don't gamble more than I can afford to lose, and sometimes it's a little tricky cash flow and inventory and all that lovely stuff that nobody thinks about. I just think about what color is going to be, in the season next year. to think about, "Ooh, how am I going to pay for this? You know, so all that and logistics. But really, I'm not the genius behind it all. I have great people.
Right. And I suppose then, as you mentioned earlier, you don't have these investors that are just, all about the numbers, that you can do
Right.
it on your terms too.
On my terms. And that's a beautiful thing because I have seen so many people get the money from investors and then, they close them down in no time. And I've been around for so long, I've seen it happen to many, many people.
And yeah, and it's easy too, you get the money. It's easy get carried away.
Oh, you get a big head,
Yeah.
and you say, "Oh, I'm rich now. I can buy a mansion." But then it all goes away when you don't produce at the other end. The big
And how,
promises.
sorry, Margaret.
Big promises and you can't deliver and then
Right.
you're in trouble.
And then how do you stay? I mean, you're regular. How do you just stay so grounded?
Because, hey, I'm one of 12, number one, you got to survive, right? Survival skills. Yeah, and look, I live in a beautiful part. I mean, California. Have you been to Mill Valley? I live in
No,
downtown.
I haven't. So
Oh my God.
I'll
Yeah,
have to come for a visit.
you've got to come and
Yes.
visit. So, I live in Mill Valley. I go over the Golden Gate Bridge every day, drive to work, and I have a studio in sort of the low rent part of the city. And I just stay calm and carry on.
Right, right. And then how do you stay, connected to your Irish your Irish heritage? I feel, I've a foot in Ireland and a foot here in the US.
That's right. You're always an outsider, really, because you neither belong here nor there. So
Right.
you actually have a very interesting perspective as an immigrant, I think, because you can observe what you left and you can observe from the inside in America what it's like to be an outsider. And uh, it's very interesting from that. So you have a vantage point of always one foot here, one foot there. Well said, I think, for you.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like we're out at sea.
Yeah, that's right. So, and then you have to be grounded
Right,
because you have to say, oh, okay, I'm here. This is my rudder.
right. And I'm always curious, like, what's the Irish diaspora like in California? I mean, we've a vibrant diaspora here in the greater Boston
Yes.
area, strong GA community.
Yes. When I came here first, there was like the Irish community did all the building, they were the nurses, they were the caretakers, they were all that for everyone. And then and then the people that graduated in college in electronics came to work in Silicon Valley, and they started spreading out into this more sort of intellectual community, shall we say? Like the way to get a job when I came was to go to the local pub and
Hmm.
you meet Mrs. So and so who works for Mrs. So and so, and you get some kind of a job and get started. And everything was cash, and the barman cashed every check, and everybody was underground. And then, so now it's all very regulated, and you just uh, apply for jobs, and I guess it's very different now. I think it's very different.
Yeah, I mean it's different. Yeah, it is, and it's different here. Um, in Boston as well, we see it's a lot of the J1 graduates coming over for
Yes,
their year after college, or we have we've the current cohort of J1 summer students
yes,
here, and they'll be winding down in a week or two. Yeah, so yeah, you don't have that big influx of immigration like you had when you
yeah.
came in the 80s or when I came here.
That's right. You don't really have a lot of the painters, the
Right,
carpenters, the
right.
plumbers coming. You have the graduates that have the J1, that's how I came to New York, was
Mm.
on a J1, and now everybody's getting H1s.
Right,
H1s.
yes.
Remember the Irish can't pronounce H?
Age, yeah.
Or 33 people.
Or Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, um, oh, it's a lot of fun, Margaret. I'm always curious, and people say to me, what advice, would you, give someone, starting out a new business? And I don't think you can really learn about being an entrepreneur in a book, but what would you say to somebody, Margaret, maybe, and especially, to women that are listening and maybe might be at a crossroads and saying, will I do it or won't I?
Uh, hmm. I say go slowly, one foot before the other. Okay, so if you want a great, I don't know, have an idea for a great food or whatever you might want to do, open a flower stand, just start off slowly and try to just do your own investment without taking a lot of money from people. Because and I know friends and family help out people a lot, but try to figure it out on your own. And and believe in it. You've got to believe in it and test the waters. Okay? Whatever you have, whatever product you're trying to sell or service you're trying to sell, well, run it by your friends and see what they say. Sort of, and don't say it like, because you might have an idea, but it may not be ratified by other people.
Right.
So they got to believe in it too.
Right, right. And it's
So
not easy, I mean, it is not easy.
no, no, and you got to stick to it. And sometimes you'll have parallel lives. Like, hey, I was a waitress for a long time.
Yeah.
In parallel to making the sweaters during the day, I was a cocktail waitress at night. So you got to keep your day job until your your night job
Right.
performs, right? Because there is no handouts.
No, no, not when you're working for yourself. There is no handouts.
That's right. There
Yeah.
aren't.
Yeah.
No.
Margaret, do you want to just tell us a little bit about, you started off with, I just want to make sure we get this in. You started off with the sweater. So, what other, you know, products do you carry in your stores?
Okay, so right, I make the sweaters. I make a lot of skirts and
Mm.
dresses and pants. And then in the stores, I buy from outside vendors items like scarves or shoes or sneakers or whatever finishes off the outfit, because if I give her a sweater, now she needs a t-shirt to wear inside the sweater. Now she needs a bottom because she's not going to walk around nude. So we gotta just finish the outfit. And then if there's a fragrance we like, we'll bring in a fragrance. And it's all selected, right? I travel a lot to Italy in particular because I buy a lot of yarns from Italy. The Italians make the best yarns. And then I might see bags or leather jackets or whatever, just to give it a special curation to round out the outfit.
Yeah. So you
Or
can actually get a full outfit. You can get the bag, the shoes, everything at Margaret O'Leary.
I would like her to, yes, go from
Yeah.
head to toe.
Head to toe.
Necklace, whatever, you know what I mean? I made a little Claddagh necklace that
Oh,
maybe at the store in Boston, or I'll bring in a little shamrock or something like that. So the people that know, and they'll buy it maybe for nostalgia or whatever.
yeah, I know around here for when it's St. Patrick's, we say St. Patrick's month, we're all looking for the little green
Yeah,
scarf or the shamrock or whatever
right.
to go with the
Okay.
outfit.
Yeah, well, that's
Mhm.
right. We make sure that store is full of green
Yes,
on that month,
I know
right?
you do. I know you do. Do you think you'll ever open a store in Ireland?
Um, I don't think so. I wouldn't make any money because I have so many relatives in Ireland. They'd all want everything for free. So
I
forget
know.
it. And then I have the logistics of shipping stuff over there, and there's that. It's a whole world of logistics, Martina, that I don't feel like it right now. I'm
Right.
I'm in the now, I guess it's the fourth largest country in the world, California. Why mess it up?
Right, right, and it's working, and it's a good excuse then for the family to come over and visit you.
Oh my God. Now because I have an online site, I get the Dear Margaret, I like the blue sweater with the zipper. Oh, what? And all right, I'll send it to you. But I mean, it's shipping and logistics is actually expensive.
Oh,
And
it is, and now
can't
with
post a sweater anymore. They want all the paperwork to go with it.
right, right, and customs, yeah, it's not like years ago we just popped it in and sent
Yeah,
it round. I remember it
yeah.
when we
Right,
came
you
here
send it
first.
by sea.
Right.
No more of that. This
No,
is
no, 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 no.
DHL, FedEx, and they want all the paperwork to go with one little sweater.
Do you get back to Ireland, Margaret?
Every time there's a birth, a marriage, or a death.
Oh my goodness. Oh, you're worse than myself, so.
So at any time, you never know. So yeah, I go back maybe every 2 or 3 years.
Okay. And where do you feel more, people ask me, where do you feel most at home? Ireland or the US?
Oh, that's a trick question. Well, you know, I like to go there and then I like to come back.
Oh yeah, that's what I say too.
It's
Yeah.
great to be there.
Yeah.
And after so many years of being here,
Hmm.
I guess now I have more than half my life in California, so I might as well just say I'm Californian.
Right, right. Yeah. But I mean, it's good to go back. I feel that gives, it keeps you grounded, it keeps you connected.
It does indeed. And I'll watch all those TV shows that are, the Irish accents or whatever they are. You know what I mean? Just because it brings it back. And you can't, it's part of the heritage. So
Yeah.
absolutely.
And I think we're in a great country too to be able to celebrate our heritage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we are. I mean, I feel loved as an Irish person
Right.
in America. I really do. I think they like the English accent better than the Irish accent, but all in all, we're okay.
I think we're okay. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
doing okay. Okay.
Mhm.
So any big plans for Margaret O'Leary brand?
I'm just going to stay steady and keep it going for as long as I can, and then it transitions over to the employees.
Great. Okay.
Right.
All right, Margaret. Well, thank you so much. This has been a lot of fun, and thank you for being so honest and sharing your journey from Kerry to California. Muila buicas.
Thank you. Thank you. The girl Margaret, Martina, thank you.